We've all heard of the dominating alpha male and the subservient beta male, but did you know that there is another personality type that is just as attractive and even more alluring to women than alpha males? We're talking about the elusive sigma male. Hi, welcome back to the channel. My name is Dr Aziz. I'm a psychology graduate of Cambridge University and also medical doctor. In this video, I'll be covering what exactly a sigma male is, the core characteristics of a sigma male, and how you can transform yourself into one. First of all, let's define what a sigma male is. A sigma male is a man within the socio-sexual hierarchy who chooses to live his life outside of the normal social dominance hierarchy structures of society. Sigma males share many traits in common with the alpha male, though their tendency to walk outside of the lines of traditional social dominance sets them apart and makes them different. Number 1. Non-conformity. Above all else, the true sigma male is a non-conformist. He marches to the beat of his own drum. If the crowds are following the path to the right, the sigma will tend to strike out on his own and go left. Their decisions are based purely on the intrinsic value of what they are pursuing rather than the extrinsic value placed upon something by society or the masses. Number 2. Self-sufficiency and independence. The sigma male is perhaps the most self-sufficient of all the male archetypes. It's not uncommon for sigma males to wander or travel. The reason for this is that sigmas are strong natural survivors. Since sigmas are almost always lone wolves, they quickly adapt to taking care of themselves. They feed themselves, they earn their own money, they pay their own bills. If they want something, they go out and get it. If they need something, they find a way of acquiring it on their own. They call no other man master and they submit to no one. Number 3. Sigmas do not need the social hierarchy to thrive. Sigma males are definitely loners, but that doesn't mean that they never spend time with other people. They may work standard jobs, they may even spend time with friends and or dating partners. All of these situations require a certain level of assimilation into their respective social dominance hierarchies, and the sigma males rises to the challenge in a truly effective fashion. But make no mistake, he is also capable of escaping reliance upon these hierarchies. In other words, he may go to work and do his work dutifully, but he is never dependent upon his boss, his co-workers, or the income to maintain his life or happiness. This is the nature of the sigma male. He is always ready, willing, and able to walk away and strike out on his own. Number 4. Adaptability. Sigma males are highly adaptable by nature. In fact, sometimes their adaptability is so natural and convincing that they may give off the appearance of true assimilation into the hierarchy. For example, a sigma male may start attending regularly at church, but don't mistake this for assimilation into the hierarchy. This is what makes a sigma male different. They are willing to walk away at any time. The alpha male will be constantly aware of how his actions within the church will affect his position at the top of the hierarchy, because his position within the hierarchy is valuable to him. A sigma, on the other hand, rejects all notions of climbing the hierarchy or assimilation. If he does assimilate to a certain extent, it's because he finds some measure of personal value in it, or because he wishes to share the experience for his own enjoyment, fulfillment, or benefit. You can also be sure that he's fully capable of walking away from it without a second thought, and at some point he probably will. Number 5. Self-priority. The sigma male puts his own dreams and happiness over everyone and everything else. This may sound very similar to the ideology of the alpha, and to a certain extent it is, but there's one profound difference. Alpha males will always prioritize highly valued members of their tribe over themselves. Alpha tribal investments often take precedence over his own wants, needs, and desires. This is part of the sacrifice of being the alpha. But sigma males reject the notion that tribal investments will lead to worthwhile benefits. They're also unconcerned with appearances or how they are perceived by others. They don't want anything to do with the tribe. The sigma prioritizes his goals over everything else in life. Even when the sigma dates, he doesn't date to take care of a woman or enter into a typical relationship. He is a free spirit. He dates for enjoyment, novelty, and new experiences, and because he's a sexual being with sexual desires, he's perfectly willing to walk away from the relationship if it ever ceases to be worth the investment to him. This is how the sigma male prioritizes himself at all times. Number 6. They love to be alone because companionship slows them down. Sigma males often sees companionship as a hindrance to what they really want. For the sigma, it's glaringly obvious that companionship also comes with baggage. It also tends to offer very little to no value to counterbalance this baggage. Sure, sigmas may develop a few close friendships that truly enrich their lives, but aside from this, most humans are not going to be worth their time or effort. Besides, traveling with companions is more expensive, requires more effort, and is less efficient. He takes control of his own social energy and uses it exactly as he wants it. Number 7. Sigmas do not need attention and strive to be invisible. This is perhaps the most misunderstood Sigma male trait. Sigmas actually strive to be invisible. At work, they neither need nor desire recognition for their effort or performance. They would much rather just be left alone to do their duties in peace. Sigmas are not driven by outside validation or praise. Anyway, those are the core features of Sigma males. Be sure to check out the animated summary on all the male personality types, and more crucially, the animated summary on how you can become an alpha male. I've linked all of them here so you can watch them absolutely free. Anyway, hope you learned something useful and enjoyed this summary. If you want to keep learning about psychology, medicine, or life hacks, hit the like, subscribe, and notifications button. Any suggestions or comments, feel free to post below. Until next time, stay safe.